Would you pay $100 for Grand Theft Auto 6, the game from Rockstar that's coming out later this year, a massive juggernaut in as far as gaming is concerned, right? Well, there's a lot of talk, especially around the price, regarding whether it will cost $100. And an analyst actually says there is hope that Grand Theft Auto 6 will cost just as much as $100. $100 price for GTA 6 would be a turning point for the industry. IGN has done an article saying basically it would be a bridge too far, even for Grand Theft Auto. We're going to talk about it in this video. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Is $100 too much for a game the scale of Grand Theft Auto 6, which will be absolutely massive? Let me know in the comments. But without further ado, let's get into it. Let's talk about it right now and see what people are saying about $100 Grand Theft Auto 6, because I think this is ridiculous. But before we get to the video, guys, check all the links down below in the video description for the best tech you could find, hands down. We've got all the best tech of the year, all the best PS5 Pro accessories and PS5 accessories, all the best Steam Deck accessories if that's your thing, and the best coffee ever made by mankind with nootropic mushrooms that just improves your health. And talking of health, if you want to invest in your sleep and your health overall, the best smart ring that tracks your sleep and tracks basically a bunch of body metrics for you, the Ultra Human Ring Air. Use my links down below to save money right now. Click them, click them, click them. Anyways, enjoy the rest of the video. So a video games analyst has claimed there is hope in the industry that Grand Theft Auto 6 could cost up to $100 so that other companies could raise their default prices as well amid global inflation and a swelling AAA development cost. As you know, this could set basically a new standard for AAA game pricing. Obviously, I remember when games used to be $60, less than $60. They went up to $70. We've seen them climb and climb and climb, and they're hoping a game on this scale, which obviously takes a lot to develop, right? This is potentially $1 billion game. Hundreds of millions of dollars were spent on developing this game, and they're wanting to recoup their money substantially, right? They want to make a lot of money in Grand Theft Auto 6. I don't blame them, but does it justify them selling the game for $100? And do you think greedy publishers and developers, maybe like Electronic Arts, Ubisoft, will follow them and release their games for $100 or more? Let's get into and talk about it. So Matthew Ball of Epilion has released the State of Video Gaming in 2025 report, which muses on how the video game industry could change in the forthcoming year. And one large focus of the report is Grand Theft Auto 6. I can't wait to play this game, which will doubtlessly be the biggest video game release of the year should it make its 2025 release date, which is obviously planned. According to the report, there is hope within the video game industry as a whole that publisher Take-Two will use this unprecedented excitement around Grand Theft Auto 6 in order to bump up the default price of the game to $100. It's believed that if Take-Two took this step with Grand Theft Auto 6, a game that will sell incredibly well regardless of the price, that others could follow suit and potentially aid in recovering spiraling development costs and obviously profit margins for developers and studios. Obviously, there's been a lot of development layoffs. There's been a lot of studio layoffs, studios shutting down across the industry. We're reporting on it like every day. I believe Ubisoft just closed one of their UK studios the other day. So obviously, this could save the gaming industry, but it's a price you're willing to pay. Obviously, they were one of the first studios to basically increase their price from $60 to $70 back in 2020, using the transition to the next gen of consoles as an excuse. Well, it's likely Grand Theft Auto 6 will be released with a $100 version, which we're accustomed to, right? We see a lot of AAA releases get the premium ultimate edition of the game with extra DLC, soundtracks, etc., for $100 or more than $100. But the base game, we've never seen anything come close to $100. It's currently expected, according to a lot of gamers, that the price will be $70, but a lot of analysts and people in the industry and studios and publishers are kind of hoping they'll push up to $100. That'll give them an excuse to do the same for their game. Obviously, with newer hardware, gaming budgets have exploded in recent years as expectations have grown for how much content is included in a game. However, in response to this, video game prices have stayed largely stagnant outside of the recent $10 bump. We've obviously seen the move to live service games become more prevalent. We've seen a lot of live service games and a lot of massive budgets for live service games because you buy the base game, right, for $60, and then they get you on DLC, updates, season packs, battle passes, all that sort of stuff. They've been nickel and diming us for a while with a lot of live service games and just games in general. And there's obviously things like Baldur's Gate that have came out, Elden Ring, that have been story focused, that don't have all the DLC, don't have all the season packs, that have still made a fortune. So I'm hoping we sort of shift away from live service, go back to full featured games, and if they are, if they are leaning towards charging $100 for a freaking game like Grand Theft Auto 6, then they sure as hell better provide a full-fledged, full-featured game straight from the get-go, instead of planning out 7 seasons of DLC afterwards, right? Because if we're going to pay more than what we do now, more than $70, which already for a lot of people is out the question as far as a lot of people's budgets, including mine. So $100, another $30 bump, $200. You better sure as hell make sure it is the biggest, baddest game, and Grand Theft Auto might just be that game. But if we see companies like Ubisoft release little B-tier AAA games, with season packs and online components that are requiring you to pay and invest more money to get better at the game, pay to win, all that sort of stuff, and a price bump to $100 for the base game with DLC, with live service components, it's just freaking ridiculous and unacceptable. Let me know if you agree. Now, before we look into what people have to say in the community, right, let's take a look at Reddit for an example. Let's talk about and discuss IGN's article here, where they said $100 would be a bridge too far, even for Grand Theft Auto, a $30 price bump. Analysts say there's no need for a price hike. It may hurt more than it helps. And a few years ago, most big AAA games cost $60. Then came the price hikes, with game after game launching at $70, and now this week we're hearing increased discussion of 2025's most anticipated game potentially costs not $70, not $80, or even $90, but $100. Could it really? Well, the suggestion that $100 GTA 6 technically comes from Apple, we discussed that already. Packaged game prices have never been lower in real terms than they are today, even though budgets are at all-time highs and player growth is stalled, Paul writes. Grand Theft Auto 6 could re-establish packed video game prices after decades of deflation despite rampant cost growth. Ball's report doesn't make direct claim that GTA 6 will cost $100, only that some game makers are hoping it will cost somewhere around that much. I hope not. Basically, another analyst basically says, sure, it could cost $100. Anything's possible, especially for a game as anticipated as Grand Theft Auto 6, and with a budget as big as Grand Theft Auto 6 that took them damn near 10 years to make. There's no need, he posted on Blue Sky, you need to make the funnel as wide as possible while also optimizing launch. Remember, we're going to get games, if they did, let's say theoretically did, there will be sales that maybe bring it down to a regular price. I would hope so. Another thing that I'm not too happy about is they're releasing it on console instead of PC, and PC is getting a delayed release date like a year later. I think that's shocking, because it feels like they're just trying to nickel and dime us and gouge more money out of us, because they know a lot of us who maybe play on PC will buy the game a second time. We'll have to buy it first on console, and then we'll want to buy it on PC a year later. It sucks, man, but that seems to be the way they're going, so it wouldn't be surprising to see them release it for $100. Now, IGN went a bit further. They spoke to 5 different analysts, all whom largely agreed that GTA 6 wasn't going to be priced higher than the usual $70 for the base game, at least because both Piscatella and Media's Reese Elliott pointed out that a critical loophole here. Publishers are already charging $100 for games, $100 for games. Most huge AAA games already charge $100, sometimes more in the first 3 to 7 days before launch, but they call it early access and slap collector's edition in the name. Publishers have hijacked collector's editions as a way to charge more for early access, aka delayed access for those consumers unwilling to pay the markup. A number of publishers use the strategy already, such as Warner Brother Games, Hogwarts Legacy, Xbox, Starfield, EA Sports FC 25, and Ubisoft Star Wars Outlaws. But he added the idea of charging $100 for the base game without those extra perks would be a bridge too far, even in the case of Grand Theft Auto. Either way, they'd find success, even if they did. Let's see what people have to say in the community. So, Peckin Paman says, are we still talking about this BS? Come on, it's so stupid. One analyst making a dumb, unfounded comment has suddenly become a hot talking point. It'll launch at $70, the current standard for a AAA release, and people will buy the dickens out of it. It'll obviously be $70. It'll also have a $100 version with early access that launches on the real launch date 5 days early. That's how they'll make sure to get $100 from almost everyone who wants to pre-order it. This is obvious, and it already happens with many AAA titles, Starfield, Diablo 4, etc. Is that something you already do with games? Do you get a new release that you're really dying to play, and then they put up a $100 early access premium version that gives you early access to the game for maybe $30 more than the base version at retail? Is that something you're okay with? It's a common practice. They're right, it is a common practice. Look at Call of Duty. You can play the game earlier. A lot of you want to stream it. A lot of people want to, grow their start a new YouTube stream channel or a Twitch channel and be big. But to be there, you have to be one of the first people to play it, right? in most cases, you're not going to become big either way because everyone's going to be doing the same thing. But is that something you're willing to do? Or are you like me and you're happy just to wait a couple extra days, pay regular price, pay the $70 and play it then? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, about Grand Theft Auto 6, it's due for a fall 2025 release, so we are going to find out this year, hopefully, about price and release dates and official dates that we're going to, price tiers and all that sort of stuff. It's obviously going to be set in Leonida, a fictional state inspired by Florida, with Vice City based on Miami playing a central role, and there's excitement about the map size, which is rumored to be significantly larger than previous titles. It's also going to feature one of the first female protagonists, Lucia. It's going to be the first female protagonist in the series, which is going to be kind of exciting. And it's going to be a Bonnie and Clyde inspired narrative. Storyline will obviously include criminal activities, heists, law enforcement chases, with a big focus on character development, just like we had with previous Grand Theft Auto games. I just can't wait to get into the game. And there's a lot of hope that they're going to bring stuff like classic features like basketball from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas back to where we can play games within the bigger, larger game, maybe even retro games at arcades and stuff. This game is going to be huge and I cannot wait for it. I can't wait to play it. Let me know if you agree. And obviously it's going to release on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC gamers will potentially face a delay expected around late 2026. I think that's ridiculous. I'm a PC gamer. I play on Steam Deck, handheld gaming PCs, all that sort of stuff. So for me to wait an extra year to have to buy this sucks. I'm gonna have to buy it day one. I want to play this thing on release like everyone else, so I might have to buy it. I might have to pay for it, but I am gonna have to buy it again for PC later on, and hopefully there's a handheld console that can handle it by 2026. But anyways, hot topic. Let me know what you think in the comments, as always. I'm Blaze2K. I stream every day at 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific time. Come join me for some video games. Playing PUBG, sometimes Call of Duty, probably not because I'm a little bit tired of that. Campaign games, horror games, all that sort of stuff. Every day, 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific time. Come join me. Come say hi. Even if you're just popping in, hit the like, slap the like button, and let's talk about video games and play video games. Anyways, peace out. I'm Blaze2K. Check those links down below for some really cool tech, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.
Let's go.